We're joined now by Daniel Bice, our Watchdog columnist, and Washington Bureau Chief Craig Gilbert is joining us from Washington. He'll be covering the debate tonight. Let's start, guys, with, the governor's over time participated in numerous other debates. There's nothing of this sort of nature with so many candidates, but Dan, what's your general sense of how he's performed in front of the cameras in these situations?
If I had to use one word, I'd say he was workmanlike. He did what he was supposed to do, and as you said, it's going to be very different because they were almost always one-on-one debates. There were about a half dozen of them as governor, and there were 3 or 4 more as county executive candidate. And he was the leader. He was ahead in the polls in each instance. And so he didn't have to do anything dramatic. He just had to hold serve, and that's basically what he did over the years in those debates. He had a certain message that he wanted to communicate, and he stayed on message, didn't vary from it at all, whether he was attacked or whether it was just a straightforward discussion.
Yeah, so Craig, Dan's word was workmanlike. Do you have one for us for how the governor has generally performed in past debates?
I think workmanlike's a good word, and I think also the comparison is apt in terms of what Dan said about him being in the lead in these other races. The debates we're talking about in his races for governor, he didn't have to throw the long ball, and he doesn't have to throw the long ball in this debate. I mean, he obviously wants to do well. He doesn't want to screw up, but he doesn't have the same urgency to kind of go for it that some of the candidates who are further down in the polls and have a real need to kind of generate attention and generate some traction. So I think they can afford to play it safer than a lot of the other people in the Republican field. It'll be interesting to see how safe they choose to play it.